Hello. We are in what Christians call Holy Week, where whether you believe in Jesus or not, whether you are at home or searching to make meaning of the times in which we now live, or you've just sitting around with nothing much to do, or maybe you've just fallen on this post by accident, why not explore with me just a few incidents that happened to this carpenter from Nazareth over 2,000 years ago, that the world is still talking about now. There is so much evidence that Jesus existed and lots of information that tells us of his death. So if you've never looked at it before, I hope to stir your thoughts each day in this week of Holy Week. Because as C.S. Lewis stated, the story of Jesus is either true or false. It can't be true for me and false for you. And if it's true, then what? People all around the world know the symbol of the cross and that it represents the manner in which Jesus died. You might think that Christians are weird for remembering, but it's not a morbid pity party. It's good news because it shows us that death is not the end. Jesus' resurrection shows us that there is hope for those that choose to follow him. Everything that happened in Jesus' last week on earth had a purpose and a reason, and I want to explore 5 messages this week with you that Jesus gave us in his last days on earth. Yesterday was Palm Sunday, the great entry and celebration of Jesus into Jerusalem, not to fight, but to bring peace. And after the parade ended, Jesus went to a village about 2 to 3 miles away called Bethany. We hear that he was staying in Simon's house, a man that previously Jesus had healed from leprosy. And I think it's really interesting that in his last days, Jesus was hanging out with the people that society would call outcasts and would have shunned. And as Jesus is eating his dinner, this woman comes in and breaks open a really expensive perfume bottom, an alabaster jar, and pours it all over his head. Now, this bottle was worth about a year's wages, and it could have helped so many people in poverty. And in moments, it's all over his head. Everyone else in the room is looking on in horror at the waste. But Jesus tells them to leave her alone. This was such an important sign of what was to come. This woman had insight into what was coming, that Jesus would not have the usual burial rites of being embalmed and anointed after he had died. We're not told what gave her this insight. We don't even know her name. What we do know is that her act, her deed of honouring Jesus, is known all over the world today. She was prepared to be as close as she could to Jesus. She wanted to honour him. She wanted to give him all she had, no matter what it took, even with the indignant and disapproving comments of the other people in the house. She wasn't going to let that deter her. And in return, Jesus honours her. Jesus welcomes her, defends her, and restores her. And I believe that Jesus offers that to everyone who wants it, to be welcomed, no matter who you are or where you've been. We all make mistakes. We've all been broken, and we've all made a mess of things, just like the perfume in the alabaster jar. And when we offer what we are to Jesus, he will do the same to us, scoop us up and restore us. That is the power of Jesus. What would it take for you to look to Jesus, receive his grace and mercy, and trust him to protect you? See you tomorrow, and we'll look at another story of Jesus in his last week. God bless.